everyone. Welcome to the Totally Well Show. I'm your host, Joyce Strong. The Totally Well Show is the place where we get curious, ask questions, and explore everything to do with health, wellness, fitness, and all the things it takes to help you live the highest quality, most fulfilling life. My guest today is Karen Regan. Karen has a website, KarenReganEnergyHealing.com, and she is an energy healer. Welcome, Karen.
Thanks, Joyce.
Excited to have you here today to learn more about what you do. I know we've chatted in the past, so I have a little bit of an idea, but can you start us off with what is energy healing?
Energy healing, everybody is made up of energy. That's what we are. And so at times, energy gets blocked. So what an energy healer does is it really helps clear out the blockages for your spiritual well-being. And it kind of like a sink getting clogged, you know, energy is supposed to flow through you efficiently and naturally, but sometimes we get a clog, and the energy healing just clears out all of those blockages and gets your energy moving again.
Okay. So when I chatted with you, you mentioned some different approaches or methods, I guess, of working or connecting with your clients. Can you give me some examples of what the names are and what they mean, and even like what it would be like for a person to come in and have that method or treatment done?
Right, so it's individualized for each client. So if somebody comes in and they have an issue, there are different modalities. So sometimes they'll use Reiki, which is a light hands-on touch approach.
Okay.
And that helps clear out the energy blockages.
So tell me a little bit more about Reiki. So it is hands-on?
It's hands-on. If people prefer not to have hands-on, I can also hover. There are some areas that I don't touch.
Yeah.
So if people say, I'm fine with touch, I'll go over each chakra. We all have 7 chakras.
Okay.
And I'll lightly touch each chakra, but there are certain ones I won't touch, like your throat or over your face. So I can hover over that, and the Reiki still goes in. And basically, Reiki is energy that comes through the earth, the universe, whatever you want to call it. It comes through me into the person, and they're basically healing themselves. So I'm not transferring my energy to you. It's just coming through me into you, and it's helping you clear out all the blockages that you have, and it's healing.
So do people lie down, sit down?
You can do it either way. It's a beauty with Reiki. People can sit in a chair, and I can give you Reiki while you're sitting right there. Usually I have people lying at a table on their back.
Okay.
And, I'll do a half an hour or an hour session on that.
Really?
Yeah.
And is there any talking that happens during it?
Again, all individualized. Some clients love to talk throughout the entire session. They tell me they see colors. Some people see, I've had some people tell me they've seen spirits. It's different for everybody. So I always say to people, I'm going to follow your lead. And if you prefer just to soak it in and just be quiet, then I'm not going to say a word unless you do. So it all depends on the client.
Do you have music on?
We do have music.
Yeah.
Yep, we do have music.
Yeah.
But again, very, very, very specific and individualized to what the client needs are. Some people just love to share what they're seeing and experiencing, and others just like to relax and just soak it in and just see what happens. So I leave it up to them.
Very good.
Yeah.
So what are some of the others?
So that's one modality. I also do aroma touch, which is basically a light massage with 7 different oils. Okay. So I have essential oils that we use, and that will also help clear out blockages. So the client lays on their back, and we do a very light, it's not a massage, so it's not like a deep tissue massage, but it's just a very light, like walking up the back and doing hand side swipes with 7 different oils that build on each other.
So they lay on their back or on their belly?
Oh, sorry, they're on their stomach, so their back is exposed to me, so it's their back and their feet that I'm working with.
Okay, so they take off clothes to do that?
They do. For this, you do have to take off your shirt, like a massage.
Okay.
Yep, just like a massage.
In your shoes you take off?
And your shoes,
yeah.
Yep.
What, do you use specific oils, or does that vary?
It will vary depending again on what the client needs are and why they're coming to me.
Okay.
So everything that I do with the energy healing is really specific to what the client needs, what their wants are.
Can you give me an example for the oils, like what you might select in a given situation?
Yeah, if someone has pain management, then I might use something called Deep Blue from doTERRA, because that helps a lot with pain, muscle, joints. If someone is, let's say, stressed out, I might use a lavender because it's very calming.
Okay.
So again, depending on what their issues are and what their challenges are, I might use a different oil depending on what their symptoms are.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you've done a history with them when they first come in, some kind of a consultation or assessment
Yeah,
in
I
the
have
beginning?
them fill out a form, but then we also take the first 15 minutes to chat and just
Okay.
why are you coming in? What are you looking for? How did you hear about this? And then again, we decide on which modality would be better. So it could be the Reiki, could be the aromatherapy. I do EFT tapping.
Can you
as
tell me more
well.
about that? I've heard of
Yeah.
people doing it who have great success, and I'm just not familiar with the technique.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So I liken the tapping to acupuncture. So we all have these points in us that, again, sometimes get blocked, meridian points. And the acupuncture, you go in with the needle, and it stops or breaks up the energy where it's blocked. Now the tapping is kind of the same thing, but it's less invasive. You just tap on certain points, and you go through it as many times as you need to, and it really clears out blocked energy.
Is there a pattern or rhythm or something that
There
you
is.
teach?
There is, and again, it depends on if you're looking for anxiety or if you're looking for smoking or if it's weight loss. It will be different tapping patterns depending on what you're coming in for.
So when people learn to do this, do they then go home and do it?
They do. So you'll come in with me.
Yeah.
I'll teach you. We'll tap together.
Yeah.
And then you'll go home and you'll be able to do it on yourself. So it's really like a one-time. You come in with me, I show you how to do it, and then you go home and you can do it on yourself.
So is this something you can do in your car, like if you're experiencing
Yeah,
road rage?
absolutely.
Or can you do it in public, like out,
Yeah, you can.
and it's subtle enough?
It is, and a lot of kids are now using it for when they get stressed out. And sometimes people do it and they don't even know they're doing it. So I've had some people say to me, geez, I already do that. I sit at my desk and I just kind of tap my head.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it was really doing anything, but it is.
So the head is, and I just noticed you tapping on your wrists.
Yeah, there's all sorts of different places that you tap. There's 9 different places, yeah.
Okay.
So it's it's really, really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, but it does help with so many different things.
So some of the other things you mentioned, you also mentioned angel cards. What are angel cards?
Yeah, I use angel cards sometimes, again, depending on what the client needs. And for an example, I had somebody come in for Reiki, and they thought they were seeing a spirit guide come into their view as I was doing it, but they couldn't quite figure out what they were trying to tell them. So I said, all right, well, let's pull some angel cards at the end and see what message we get. And he got this really beautiful message from the cards. So it's intuitive reading. I'm not a psychic. I'm not a medium. I tell everybody that to start with. But it's all intuitive, and we all have intuition. Every single one of us has intuition. It's just a matter of if you tap into it or not. So
can you tell me what your definition of intuition is?
yeah. So for me, I'll pull the cards, and it has something written at the bottom of each card, what the card is supposed to mean, but I don't usually look at that. The card will speak to me and something will pop into my head, and that's what intuition is. It's just what I'm getting from the card, and I may pull this card 5 times in a day, and the card may say something different to me each time. So it's more intuitively what I think it's the message is for you.
So your body is speaking to you, or?
Yeah, or as I said, I something just will pop into my head. I'll look at the card and I'll think, I'm looking at it today, and yesterday I might have said, for example, this is showing you need to have strength, but now I'm looking at it today and I'm seeing something else in the card, and now for you, it's telling me you need to be open to the possibilities. So it's just what pops in.
Okay.
And then I'll check in with the person and see, does that make sense to you? And they'll, say yes or no. But yeah, it's just intuition.
Yeah.
Intuition and just how you use your intuition. And again, everybody has it.
Yeah, that's a wonderful tool. So I'm curious how you got into this. What did you do before you became an energy healer?
So I was in corporate for 25 years. I was at a bank, a mutual fund company for 25 years.
Wow.
Went to school for business management. And I just sort of fell into this job many, many years ago and didn't really care for it. I got laid off 2 years ago. And once I got laid off, I said, I am just going to start getting into everything that I've always wanted to, but just wouldn't have, because I was working. And so I started studying the Reiki, and I became a Reiki master. And
were you a client for somebody first?
I was not.
So you just got interested in it?
Yeah. I've been a life coach for probably 15 years. I was doing that as a side business while I was doing the corporate. Yeah.
Okay.
And then my husband got sick, and I was looking for more natural ways to help him, to try and help him in conjunction with the modern medicine he was receiving from his doctors. So I started looking into the Reiki and the aromatherapy and the oils, and I just wanted to see what else is out there that we might be able to use to help him. And I just fell in love with it. It was just great.
How did that go with your husband?
Yeah, he was resistant at first. He's kind of old school and wasn't sure, what this was all about, but he was open to it. And he was asking me for the Reiki. He would come up in bed at night and he would say, can you give me Reiki? And so it worked out great. He loved it.
So you have shared with me that your husband passed away.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in what ways did this help in his path, his journey as he became sick and eventually passed away?
Yeah,
How
that's a great question. So he got very ill this summer, and when he was not feeling well, when he would ask me for the Reiki, and I specifically did it over his heart because he had heart issues, it really just helped to calm him. I think more than anything, Joyce, it was such a stress relief for him. And when you relieve stress, that helps in healing. So it just made him feel better because I think he was just relaxed and he was taking in my touch, and as we had talked about before, touch itself can be very healing. So it just helped him so much, just take the pressure off, and just allow his body to relax and just let the healing come in. And I really think it helped him pass as well. I was giving him Reiki in the hospital when he was on life support too. And Reiki really brings all the pieces back together, and so before he passed, his energy was back flowing again, even though he was sick. So I believe it helped him pass easier and with more dignity and gentler.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss, and
Yeah,
appreciate your
thanks.
sharing that story. It's a powerful story on how to apply these types of modalities in hospice care or hospital care. You had mentioned too some examples of hospital care that you're familiar with.
Yeah, more and more hospitals are using these energy healings in conjunction again with modern medicine. My brother had a stroke a few years ago, and they offered him Reiki in the hospital. And I'm going to be speaking with Lowell General Hospital this week about Reiki. So they are getting more and more in tune with it and how it does naturally heal.
What's that conversation going to be about? Are they looking to apply it in certain areas? Like I'd known, you and I chatted about just cuddling babies and that kind of thing. Or do you have any sense yet of how they're thinking or how they have been, the hospitals, applying that Reiki treatments?
I don't know yet. I know they do offer Reiki in Lowell General, so I'm not sure yet how they want to apply the energy healing. So I'll be speaking with them this week, and but I'm very, very excited that they're open to it.
Yes.
And want to hear more about it and see how can we use it to help our patients.
Yeah.
So it's becoming more and more widespread and open in hospitals, and acknowledging that, hey, this can help. More hospitals are using the essential oils. They diffuse the oils, and they're finding that it really does help, even with the nurses and the staff and their whole attitudes. And so it's great. It's great that they're really open to all of this now.
Yeah. I have great faith in the body's ability to heal and our ability to listen if we're willing to be open and listen. So this dovetails quite well with my belief system.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's see, what else I wanted to ask you about. Have you ever been a client now that you're into the doing the energy healing yourself? Do you ever go for treatments yourself?
I do. I actually have a very good friend of mine, and I got together with her last weekend, and she gave me Reiki treatments. And she's got a biomat that she uses, and glasses that she uses that you put on. They're Deepak glasses, and you see crazy lights with music, and so that's just her modality that she uses. And so I do get treatments myself, and actually you can give Reiki to yourself.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, if you're a Reiki master, you can give Reiki to yourself.
Yeah.
And you can give energy to yourself, because again, it's coming through the earth, and it's just flowing through me. So I give Reiki to myself a lot too, or my dog. You can give it to animals too. So my dog has bad hips, so sometimes I'll give her Reiki.
Oh, that's something I hadn't thought about, but I know a lot of people are interested in natural methods of healing for their pets.
Absolutely, because again, it doesn't have side effects. You know, my girl has bad hips, so I'll give her medication, but it makes her stomach a little queasy. So I love the Reiki, or you can even put oils on a dog, believe it or not. You have to be careful which ones, but you can use certain oils on animals. Very careful with cats. But certain oils you can use on them, and it's just so natural, and it won't give her any side effects. So I use Reiki on her quite a bit with the hips.
You had mentioned earlier that you have been a life coach for 15 years. And I hear I'm a coach myself. So as I evolve and grow as a coach, and as I explored becoming a coach, and many of my clients too ask me about coaching, I realized that that's sort of a general term that although we may be doing very different things or have different approaches. So I'm curious to learn how you became a life coach and then how you apply it now.
So how I became a life coach is kind of funny. Probably 20 years ago, I would say, I was in a situation where I hated my job, I hated where I was living. I had a boyfriend that I just knew wasn't going to work out, and I thought, oh my gosh, how did I get here? If you had said this is what my life was going to look like after college, I would have said, oh gosh. And I just kind of thought I was stuck in a rut. You hear that all the time, oh, I'm just in a rut. And so 2 years went by, and I was still stuck in this rut, and I thought, oh my gosh, if I don't do something, I'm going to be stuck 2 more years from now, and then I'll be 30. And so, I just really started looking at my values and what my beliefs were. And I realized that I was keeping myself very stuck. I had the ability to change where I was going and what I was doing. And then I knew I didn't need counseling per se. Not that there's certainly anything wrong with counseling, but I knew that wasn't quite what I needed. So I was just searching the internet, and I found life coaches, and I thought, oh, I wonder what that is. So I explored it. I hired a coach, and I thought, oh my God, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. I want to help people move from where they are and what's keeping them stuck, and help them move forward. And so now I generally do it in conjunction with the energy healing. So I'll give an example. If someone comes in for Reiki, if I might have my hand over their heart chakra, and the heart chakra means connections, love, relationships. And so I might say to them, is there something going on in that area? And they'll say, oh my gosh, I'm having troubles with, my sister or my husband. And so then I can say, well, we can do some life coaching on how we can help you, move beyond what's keeping you stuck there. Same with the aromatherapy. If, they're very stressed out, if they're coming to me for stress and we're doing lavender aromatherapy, I can talk to them about, stress management and life coaching them on that. So it really does go hand in hand with a lot of the other modalities that I use.
So are you able to tell me back to you, where it started with you, what kinds of things happened in that coaching relationship that helped you obviously move forward so beautifully in your life?
It was crazy. Once I started doing the life coaching, within 1 year, my entire life changed. 1 year, I had gotten rid of the job, I got rid of the boyfriend, I moved out to this area on a 100-acre farm. What I realized, Joyce, is that I wasn't living by my values. And, we that word gets thrown around a lot. But I had been living by my parents' values because I had no idea what my own were. So, you know, I went into college not knowing what I wanted to do. I moved to Boston because that's where my dad said, you know, that's where you should be. And none of it was what I wanted. I finally realized, wow, this is mom and dad. I'm living mom and dad's life. And that's one course I used to give is, whose life are you living anyway? And, you know, once I realized what my values were and what made me happy, I changed everything. And in 1 year, my entire life changed.
So how did you get there, though? I guess I'm looking for, like, what was the technique or the magic in that relationship? Because I know a lot of viewers haven't had coaching, or they just might have it mixed in, because the word is just used so broadly.
Yes.
So you met a person and you had just talk. You sat and talked.
Well, it was on the phone.
Yeah.
I think she lived out in Texas.
Yeah.
My first coach, I think, lived out in Texas.
So you actually met with a person just by phone?
Just by phone? Yeah, I never even met with her in person. And we would talk weekly on, you know, what my challenges were. And a coach, a good coach, really gets you to come up with your own answers. So it's not advice giving. You know, a lot of people used to call me and say, okay, tell me what I need to do. And that's not what coaching is. That's not what I do as a coach anyway. It's really getting you to give yourself the answers. So it's me asking provocative questions and deeper rooted questions for you to come up with your own answers. You know, I don't know what's best for you. You do. You know, we each know ourselves better than anybody.
Can you remember some of the questions that you were asked back then that may have helped you to make a pivot?
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to think of what I came to her for. You know, again, I was just kind of stuck with everything. And I think one of her questions was, what are your values? It doesn't sound like you're living a life that you enjoy. So what are your values? And I thought, oh, I don't know. And yeah, you know what? She did ask me a really great question. She had said to me, if you were going to another planet and you were trying to tell these aliens something about themselves, how would you do it? And I thought, oh, gosh, that's interesting. She said, what would be one gift you would give them? And mine was a mirror. So I would give a mirror because I think everyone needs to look at themselves and to really get to know yourself and understand yourself. So for me, a mirror was the gift that I would give. You know, just take a good look at yourself, you know, lines and all, and just really get to know yourself, love yourself, and love every aspect about yourself. So that was one question, and that really got me deeper thinking.
What did that lead to for you then?
Well, for me, it really led to, you know, looking at, wow, what do I enjoy? You know, block out all society, and what does Karen enjoy? Forget about what mom and dad are telling me or what society is telling me. You know, I really had to look at myself and listen to myself. And that question just really got me thinking, and really focusing on me.
It's really interesting because when you first said the mirror, and that's a great question, by the way, my initial thought was that look in the mirror, like judge yourself. And that isn't at all what you meant.
No. No. Just be very honest with yourself. And but also looking at your gifts, your abilities, your desires, what you want. Absolutely. But I'm also going to say, and this is something that I used to teach clients a lot, even the things that you don't like about yourself. So a lot of people, you know, something gets brought up to them, oh, you do this, and oh, no, I don't. Well, I encourage people, you know what, look at that. Maybe you do that, and that's okay. It's okay. And you either say, oh, I don't like that I do that, and I'm going to work on changing it, or you own it and say, okay, that's who I am, but look at it and learn from it. So you can either grow from it or you just accept, yeah, that's who I am, and that's what I do. That's just one of the things I do.
So I have a theory that, and you can let me know if you agree or not on this, that to transform, to have a true lifestyle change or a change in your life, it requires vulnerability.
Yes.
And in a safe place for that to happen. And on the flip side of that vulnerability is courage.
Yes.
Do you agree?
I do agree, I do. And one of my favorite lines, and I forget who I got this from, was, you can't change what you don't acknowledge. Which again is why I love the mirror, for the good and the bad points of us. If you don't even acknowledge something, you can't change it.
And I love what you said there as well, that when you look, you have a choice to accept it and have it be as it is.
Yes.
Or that it can't change. I am my age. I am, whatever those, my height or my eye color. So there are certain things that we can change and cannot change, and that's a choice.
Yes.
So perfection's not required.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But vulnerability is.
Yeah, and I think people judge themselves so harshly. And there are things that you can change, Joyce, that maybe you don't want to change. Maybe you're okay with. This is just me. My husband did something, and I can't remember what it was now. And he would say, you know what, it's just the way I am. He could have changed it, but he didn't want to change it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So even if you have a choice to change it, you may just say, no, I don't want to.
And it may not, there may be feedback you're getting that somebody thinks you should. Outside forces might be giving you that feedback, but it's still your choice if you want to keep it or not.
And it's okay. And I guess that's the message I want to get to people. It's okay.
Yeah.
Everyone has flaws, and we all have great points, and we all have some things that maybe need work.
We have 2 minutes left.
Okay.
I know we wanted to talk about energy management.
Yes.
And so I'm going to give you about a minute to talk about that, and then I'm going to ask you another question.
Okay, sure. So energy management, this is really something I work with a lot on people now. People used to talk about time management, but what I've started realizing working with people is you may have a huge chunk of time, but you don't have the energy to get done what you need to get done. So now I work with people on energy management rather than time management. So, for example, sometimes I'll have people write down a list of tasks you need to do.
Yeah.
And next to them, write down how much energy it's going to take you. So it may be something very small, just send a quick email, that's low energy. Maybe it's a bigger project, that's going to be high energy. And when you have some time, then you look at your list and say, okay, do I have time for low, medium, or high energy? We expend so much energy in a day and we don't put it back, so you really have to manage your energy. So I think it's more energy management now than time management. And I think that's been very, very helpful with people to teach them how to manage their energy.
I love that, and just being able to quantify it, impact, and maximize the use of your energy.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So last question I ask all my guests, what are the top 3 things, what top 3 things does it take for you to be totally well?
To be totally well, so for me, self-care. And I think everybody should promote self-care for themselves. No one's going to take care of you better than you. No one knows what your needs are better than you. So I'm very, very much into self-care. I think knowing what your values are, like I talked about earlier, I think everybody needs to know what their values are and what makes them happy. Kind of goes hand in hand with the self-care. But also taking care of yourself, and this goes back to my husband. Although he had heart disease, he exercised, he ate well, he did everything to keep himself healthy, especially as he aged, and he taught me that. So I think they kind of all go together now that I'm saying this.
Yeah.
But just really taking care of yourself, mind, body, spirit, just the whole package.
Yeah, and always self-reflecting to make sure you know what those things are.
Absolutely.
So Karen Regan from KarenReganEnergyHealing.com. And how else can people reach out to you?
They can go to my website. I do have a Facebook page. That's actually Karen Gardner Energy Healing. That's my maiden name. I also have a regular Karen Regan Facebook page. That's just my personal page.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, thanks again for coming, and maybe you'll come on another time and do a deeper dive.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks,
okay.
Joyce.
All right. Thank you.